Hi, my name is Ricky Nguyen and welcome to this video guide on how to use our very own tax preparation template created by our firm AN and Associates. I'm super excited to see you here because that ultimately means you're ready to do your taxes. The first thing that you'll see with our tax preparation template is a checklist. Now this checklist asks you very important questions so that it knows how to account for all the tax items. The checklist will also be able to direct you to the worksheet that correspond to that particular question. Now, the very next item on the template is the dashboard. And the dashboard contains a lot of valuable and important information for you to be able to understand your finances. But to be able to start reading it, there's just a little bit of preparation that you need to do. So I'll show you how to do that right after. So the very next part is to be able to provide your accountant with information as to how your accounts and finances are moving. And the movement in your finances occurs either in your bank statements, cash transactions, or both. So I'm going to show you how to use the templates that will be able to reflect that for your accountants. And finally, we're going to go through and look at the different templates that helps you make claims for your business. And the major items are your motor vehicle expenses, your working from home, as well as your wage expenses. So if you're ready, let's get started. When you first open up the template, this is what you'll see, the checklist. Now this checklist will ask you a variety of questions that would try to determine what items and what type of expenses that are available to you. All you need to do is answer yes or no in the answer column. And once you do so, an instruction will pop up on the right hand side under the instructions column. So in this case, in question 1, are you registered for GST? And if you answered yes, the instruction will ask you to provide invoices to support your GST claims. And similarly with question 2, do you have a business bank account? And if you answered yes to that question, the instruction will ask you to complete the bank transaction worksheet and to also provide bank statements to your accountant. Now for our case study, we'll answer yes for all these questions as it will give us a good opportunity to demonstrate and show you how each of these worksheets are filled in correctly. So in question 3, it says, did you have any cash expense during the year? I answered yes. The instructions proceed to ask me to complete the cash transaction worksheet. Similarly with the question 4, 5, 6, and 7, did you have motor vehicle expenses? Yes, so we have to complete the motor vehicle logbook worksheet. Did you work from home or use your home as an office? We said yes, so we have to complete the work from home logbook worksheet. Did you pay wages? We answered yes, so we have to complete the wage summary worksheet. And the last one is, did we purchase a motor vehicle? And we answered yes. So if you answered yes to the last question, you have to provide an invoice and or the loan documents if it's applicable to the purchase. Now moving on to the dashboard. So in this dashboard here, it will show you and give you a summary of your financial positions as well as your financial performance. So what this dashboard does is that it gathers all the information that you enter in for all the other worksheets, and it will display here in one place for your accountants to be able to quickly see all the tax components or the tax items that they need to consider in order to complete your tax returns properly. Now let's proceed to the bank transaction worksheets. This bank transaction worksheet will be applicable if you have a business bank account. What you'll need to do is enter in and provide your accountant with details as to how your accounts is moving. So I'll show you what I mean with an example. So what I have here is 4 quarters worth of bank statements for our case study. Now let's open up the first page of our bank statement. Now this particular case study, we named it appropriately called The Cafe at 88 Bean Street. And if you take a look, the period that it's applicable is from the 1st of July to the 30th of September. That means that it belongs to the first quarter. So here are the transactions. So money going out are your debit columns and money going in are your credit column. So if you can see, the money going out is because it's bank fees on the 1st of July. And the next particular transaction is an inflow from EFTPOS, $1,187. You have cash deposits, some more EFTPOS, some more cash deposits, and then you have transfer for coffee grinders, and you can see that there's a tax office payment of $3,700, and there's transfer out for Dairies R Us, and there are wages that's been paid here for items, 3 items. Now let's proceed to enter this information into our template. So the first thing I'll do is look at the first transaction here on the 1st of July. And the amount is $10. In this case, it's a negative because it's money going out. You can see the balance dropping down by $10. So we're going to put in a negative number of $10. And the transaction is, the description is account fee. And going over to the category, what you can do is use the drop down list. So scrolling through this drop down list, you'll see an item called bank fees. And do you have supporting documents? Yes, because this is bank fees and it's shown on the bank, so that's the supporting document. GST is not applicable. And you can see the amount is on -10. And the type is expense. Cool. And now let's go to the next item. It's also on the 1st of July 2021. And it's an FPOS or a deposit of 1187.98. And it's for FPOS. And the category is sales. So the supporting document would be yes, since this will come from your point of sales system. And there's GST on this. The answer is yes. Now I won't bore you with entering all these details in, so I'll just do that in the background just to show you how to do the rest. Now, if you don't know how to classify some of these entries, you can just leave a note on the side and your accounts will be able to provide you with more guidance. And over time, because your business transaction would be very similar from year to year, you'll be able to use that information in the next quarter or the next year. So that's me entering all of the transactions for the 4 quarters. Now, if you actually have online banking, you don't need to enter in these information manually. Your bank actually gives you the ability to download a CSV file of all these transactions. So when you log in and you download a CSV file, it will look like this. As you can see, this transaction is exactly the same as what is shown on your bank statements. So that's the -10 here, and your positive 1187.98, and then you have your 1721.56 and 1196.11. So here is just an Excel version of your bank statement. So what you can do is download this file here. Now, different banks have different files and different ways of downloading it. So it's very difficult for me to show you that, but you can always call up the bank and they'll be able to show you how to do that. Once you have this file, you can simply copy each column. For example, you can copy the dates here and just paste it into this bank transaction template. So I'll highlight all the column and I go into here and I paste. Same thing with all of these transactions. Same thing with all these description. I copy all of this and I paste it into the template like this. And then you proceed to categorize as well as answer yes or no to the supporting document and GST question. And that will save you a little bit of time. So once you finish that and have all the bank transaction entered into this template, now let's take a quick peek at the dashboard again. You can see that information is starting to flow through here already. All right, cool. You can see the sales that you made for the year and all the expenses and where the categories are, so you can see where you're spending all your money. All right, so the next worksheet is the cash transaction worksheet. This is mainly to capture cash expenses. If you paid supplies using cash, then you will want to look at this worksheet here. The example we have here is the client would have already prepared their list of invoices that they've paid with cash. You can see dates on it, you can see the amounts, and you can see where it was paid to, or who the supplier it was that was paid to. All right, so let's open up the first item. So that's the 14th of September 2021. And this one is budget service station for unleaded petrol of $42.21. So 14th of September 2021. And the supplier was, let me just do that to make it easier to see. And the supplier was Budget Service Station, and the category we're going to see is petrol. In this case, it will be called motor vehicle expenses. And the amount is $42.21. And is there GST? Yep, there's GST. And you can see that's automatically calculated at $3.84, which matches against the invoice. Now let's move to the next item, the BP. So this BP transaction occurred on the 16th of September 2021, and it was paid for diesel. This must be for another vehicle that they have, maybe a truck. And this transaction was for $113.81. Now let's just enter that in. 16th of September 2021. And it's BP Carrington. Also motor vehicle expense. In this case, the amount is $113.81. Is there GST on the item? Yes. And if you have a look, GST amount is $10.35, which matches against the receipt. Great. And then you'll need to proceed to enter the rest of your receipts that you have on file. So I'll do that in the background so you don't have to watch me do the whole thing. Okay, so that's what I'll do. So that's all the receipts that we have on file. Now let's take a look at these three items here. These three items has a no for the GST. Not all receipts have GST because not all businesses are registered for GST. So let me show you the aroma. So you can see this particular receipt, there is no GST on it. And Coles, let's take a look at Coles, Chipping Norton. The purchase was for spinach, and there's no GST. So you just need to follow what's written on the invoice or the receipts that you have on file. And once you do that, let's go back and take a look at the dashboard. You can see extra items popping up. You can see motor vehicle expenses, and you have some direct costs moving. Okay. Now, the very next worksheet that we have on file, that's very typical for a lot of businesses out there, is the motor vehicle logbook. Now, this logbook will be very useful for you if you're looking at claiming or making claims on your motor vehicle. Let's take a look at a motor vehicle that this particular client has. So the motor vehicle applicable for our case study is a Honda Accord. The year is 2017. And registration is ABC 23. Engine size is 2.4 liters. Business name is The Cafe. And the ABN. I'm just going to put down a dummy ABN here. And the start date of this log would be on the 28th of May 2022. And the end date is 26th of the 8th, 2022. And what you'll see here is the number of weeks calculated. You need to complete a log of 12 weeks for it to be valid. So here are the entries for the logbook. On the 28th of May, traveled to and the kilometer travel was 10 kilometers. And Also on the 28th of May. Did some shopping. So you proceed to enter in all of the business activities throughout that 12 weeks. So I'll finish entering this worksheet now so you don't have to sit through it. All the entries here have been entered in, and these are all related to your business activities. And so out of that 2,500 kilometers traveled for the entire 12 weeks, 952 kilometers were related to your business activity. So the rest is for personal. So what that means is your business percentage is 38%. Out of all the trips, 38% is related to your business. So that means that all of your motor vehicle expenses, 38% of it would be related for your business. So you can claim 38% of your motor vehicle expenses. Now, even if you don't decide to use the logbook method, there are other methods available to you. With this logbook, your accountants would be able to use this and determine whether the logbook method is appropriate for you. But if it's not, he should have all the details required to claim using other methods with the information you have here. Now, this very next worksheet that you're looking at is the work from home logbook. And this logbook allows you to determine the business percentage of your home that you're able to claim for business related activities. Okay, to complete this workbook, you need to specify what is the property size. We're going to assume that it's a little condo of 100 square meters. And the dedicated space that's used to perform the admin work is 5 meter squares. It's a very small little room. So that means that 5% of your property is used as part of your business. Now, what you need to do is start logging when it is that you actually perform all the business activities at home. So in our case, is on the 1st of July, 2021. The start time is when they got home at around 7 p.m. And the finish time is 8:30. They did the bookkeeping for an hour and 30 minutes. And they were placing orders and paying bills. You can see there, that's an hour and 30 minutes. And you need to do that throughout the year. So for us, our client has a very regular routines and they're able to complete this fairly easily. So with the magic of video, I'll complete the rest of this worksheet. All right, so I've completed the worksheet. Now, if we quickly go back to the dashboard, so as you can see here, the work from home hours is 580 hours. Now that is the number of hours that your accountant can use to make working from home expense claims. Now, the last worksheet that we're going to take a look at is the wage summary worksheet. This will be applicable to you if you pay wages to employees or maybe to yourself and your spouse. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. So in our case study, these were the payslip that was supplied to us. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to enter in the payslip. So the first payslip that we're going to take a look at is Alan Jones' 4th of July payslip, or the 5th of July payment payslip, as you can see there. So I'm going to enter in on the 5th of July, 2021, and it's Alan Jones. And the gross wage that we're looking at is $798, $798. And the PAYG tax, if you go down to the tax section, it says $100. So it's $100. And that is it. That's the first entry. And we need to do that for the rest of the payslip. So once you enter in all of the payslip for all of the wage payment that was made throughout the year, now let's take a look at our dashboard again. Looking at the wage cross-checker, you can see that the total gross wages that was paid was $10,395, and the PAYG that was collected was $1,448. So your net pay was $8,947. And the amount that was paid out and that was recorded on your bank account was $8,947, which is equal to what's in your wage summary. That means that the wage summary and your bank statement actually matches, so there isn't any differences. So that should give your accountants assurance that whatever you recorded was actually paid out. So that's some extra cross-checking and auditing that your accountants can use in order to reassure themselves that the numbers are correct. Now let's enter in the rest of the details. So in here, the financial year that we're looking at, the current financial year is 2022. So therefore the previous year was 2021. So these next numbers would be obtained from your financial report or your tax return in the prior period. That's why you see it's the previous period information. And you can find that in your previous tax return or financial report. So in this case, we have the company tax return. If you scroll down to the total income, so your gross revenue, that's your gross revenue. I'll just move this across. Of $55,234. And the total expenses, you can see total expenses here of $28,651, and that gives you your profit for the prior year. And if you go down to the profit, is $26,583, which matches our number here. Great. So that's all the information that we need. The opening balance of your bank account should be the very first number in your bank statement. So if we go back to our bank statement and look at the very first quarter and look at the opening balance, that's what we need, $3,886.82. And 82 cents. There were no personal drawings throughout the year. There were no other bank accounts. Now, to get the opening balance for your liabilities, you can get these numbers from your previous financial report. So going to here, looking at the annual report, opening that up, we can see these liabilities. So in this case, you have your GST, your income, and there's a loan of $5,000. So those are the numbers that we need. So the closing balance for last year will be the opening balance of this year. Okay, so we need to say the GST payment or payable would be $3,704, and the payment in this case, there's a tax income payable or refund of $1,000. So we're going to represent the refund of $1,000, and the loan that we have on account would be $5,000. Right there. Now, what's strange to me is the net asset of a negative $3,800, and I suspect that that's because we didn't put in the motor vehicle. So the assets here only list out the bank account and nothing else. But we have motor vehicle expenses. So how can you have a motor vehicle expense and you don't have the asset? Now, I would think that in here, you'll need to provide your accountant with the purchase of the motor vehicle. I assume the reason why it's not there because there is no opening balance and the amount has never been recorded in the past. And this is a good time for you to provide that information to your accountant. The purchase information as well as any loan information. And that was covered in the checklist. Did you purchase a motor vehicle? Please provide invoice and loan documents if applicable. So that answered that question. Now, I hope you found this video guide helpful. If you have any question at all, or if you need any help, please reach out to us. There'll be a link on our website where you downloaded this template. You just need to book a call. We do have a special offer for all of our subscribers. You just need to mention your name and register email address, and we'll be able to provide you with 1 hour of free consultation to help you go through this template. But that's all for me for today. Thank you. Stay tuned. Until then, bye.